Hi, it's Pip Todman here from queenpipcards.com. Thanks for joining me today. Today we are talking Forever Fern. Forever Fern and all the gorgeous Forever Fern paper. Actually, I don't know if it's called Forever Fern paper. Forever Greenery paper, that's what it's called. And also we're looking at this new Greenery embossing folder, which is actually two embossing folders. You get a pair like this. And so we're using those today too. I've made 4 cards, would you believe, and I'll be looking at all of them over this video. Hopefully it won't take too long because they're not very difficult cards to complete. We'll do a little bit of stamping, and we'll do a little bit of just putting together, really, basically, because it's such a gorgeous set and there's so much to show you. I've already done one video on it yesterday. I'm doing this one, and quite frankly there's going to be more to come in the coming weeks because it's just a gorgeous set and it's just beautiful. It's not distinctive in the sense that it's not called a distinctive stamp set, but it does have beautiful shading on these gorgeous fronds and leaf patterns here. So let's have a look at the cards that we're doing. So here's the first two, and what I've done is I've taken two colours of cardstock, all the colours that go and coordinate with the Forever Greenery paper. This piece here is Garden Green and this piece here is Pretty Peacock, and I ran them through this embossing folder. Okay, so this embossing folder has, it's quite wide, so what I did was I just ran 2 strips through, and you can run a big strip and then chop it up. You can do whatever you like. You could do it this way across a card or this way down a card on its own. It doesn't quite fill the whole of a card base, and I just suddenly decided to just chop it into like 2cm strips and thought actually that looks really nice. So these are the 2 cards that we're going to start off with. And then I've stamped quite a lot inside the card just to show off those gorgeous stamps as well, because they're so pretty, so pretty. Okay, so let's start with these. So the first one I'm starting with is the Garden Green, and for this card I've got an inner and I've got an inner piece, don't need that, don't know why that's there, and I've got a piece of shaded spruce, and then a piece of this beautiful Forever Greenery paper, and literally it's just a question of sticking those together. These cards are really simple, they're not difficult whatsoever. It's just really a way of showing off the beautiful stamps and papers and embossing folders. So you could run a whole bunch of these up. You know, you can get 6 out of one sheet of cards of paper, so you could have 6 of each of the paper designs. I mean, I did 2 of each of the paper designs, but you could easily do 6 because there's enough to do 6 sheets of the top layer out of every one sheet of 12 by 12 paper that you get. It comes in a pack, and you get 6 designs, 2 sheets of each. So I mean, you could even make 12 cards of each if you wanted to. Just beautiful. Look at that. And then I've got this other piece here, so I just ran it through and just chopped it into pieces basically. So each piece is slightly different to the other. This has got more of a frond on it, this has got some of these little dotty bits on, this has got the dotty bits at the top. So I liked how they all look slightly different, but they're all pretty much the same. So this is just a 2cm strip that we're just popping on here, and you can leave as big or as small a gap as you like. Just make sure that you get that straight. There we go. Nice. And then very simply I stamped the sentiment. You can do this. Oops. And all of the labels that I'm using for these cards are from the same die set I used for my retreat, my summer retreat, and this is Tasteful label dies. And whoops, I can see this becoming another must-have set, the same as the So Sentimental, because there's just so many great different shape dies. So we're using this one here, and on this card we're using this one here, and we're using a lot of these in the cards that we're making today, so they're just pretty and really useful sizes, if you know what I mean, for stamping on. Now some of them are stitched, and some of them have this just this indented layer that's just an embossed piece. It's just like an embossed line that runs through it. which is lovely. And different. We've not done this, not had this before. So shade, actually I think I did shaded spruce. Yep, shaded spruce. So shaded spruce on this one. Just stamp, and because they're cling, you can sort of see where you're going with the sentiment, like so. And this one I didn't add any leaf images to it, I just stamped it as it is. But here you'll see on this one I added a leaf, but it's up to you. You could add some dots or something else from the set if you wanted to. And then I'm using this trim. So this is the gold trim. It comes in a pack of 2, like this, with this beautiful like bandagey crepey ribbon. I decided to just use the trim, and it does fray at the end. I like the frayed look. You can do so much with the frayed look. And then just wrap it around your fingers a bit, cut a piece off. On the back I would use tear tape or the new seal. I haven't got mine yet, so I'm just using up my old snail, but the seal will be here shortly. And then I started winding this round. So you just wind it as you fancy. The good thing about this snail is that it, and I hope the seal's the same, you can kind of manoeuvre it afterwards, so when it's stuck it's not exactly permanent. And I did it so that, let's do that a bit bigger here. Which end is this? This is this end. Yeah. Okay. So just do it like that. There we go. So we've got a little bit more on this side, but at the top. And then because that's there, you can now see where you're going to position your dimensionals for sticking it down. And just make sure that you've got enough sort of room to give you we could just attach that over the top. It doesn't actually matter if you go over the twine, it'll just lift it a little bit, but it's okay. It's going to be lifted a little bit anyway at this end because of the embossed piece. So just hold that all down like that and make sure that it sticks nicely underneath, and then whip off your dimensionals, and then this is just going to go just hanging over the edge just a smidgy. There we go. Straight. Yes. There we go. So that's card number 1. Card number 2. And because they're all on the same layout, it makes it just so much easier to just repeat them. So card number 2 uses my favourite sheet. I think this is everybody's favourite sheet out of this paper. It's just yummy with this. And look at the back. I mean, the back is just beautiful too. Oh, and I love the sentiment that I'm using on this one. To a friend that makes me smile. I've got so many friends that make me smile, which is great because we always need people to help us smile, don't we? Especially at the moment. So pop that down. Again, really simple. This one has more of the little doubly bits at the bottom, and that's probably not a technical term, but you know what I mean. Make sure that you get enough glue on the back to cover that so that it doesn't squish out, but you have enough so that it's because some of the debossed bits, the bits that point inwards, obviously won't be touching the card, so you just need to make sure that you've got enough on the bits that touch the card. Make sure that's straight. Lovely. Look at that. And then straight down, this time I chose a thick Whisper White card base just because I wanted the nice contrast of Pretty Peacock versus Whisper White. It's a lovely, is that the right way around? Yes, just checking. There we go. It's just a lovely crispness to it with Pretty Peacock and Whisper White. Just really pretty. Now, if you're not sure of your stamping, you can do your inside stamping before you put your front on. But I'm okay. I'm pretty happy with what I'm going to be doing. So now we've got this piece from the Timeless Textures. No, not the Timeless Textures. What are they called again? Tasteful Labels. Tasteful Labels. I'm going, honestly, my mind's going back into the past. So yes, so we'll do a bit of that. What do we need? We need the sentiment, and then I used actually this really big stamp here, but I just used this tiny little piece here just to add a little frond at the top of this label. We're going to need some grid paper, so we're going to stamp the sentiment in Pretty Peacock. Now, you actually have to put the smile quite high up. It's weird because you want it to go that way, but then the whole thing slides down. So actually it needs to go up so that the friend word is straight, because otherwise it does look very odd. So we're going to do that. So it's the friend word that you need to get straight, which makes the smile straight. I don't understand how that works, but it does. So just go with me on that. And then I'm going to put this onto a larger stamp, a larger block. And I'll make sure that goes on. And we're going to use the new Just Jade, because this pack of papers uses the new, so it uses one of the last year's in colours, which is this one, the Pretty Peacock, and it uses some Just Jade, which is sort of in some of the colouring on this, although this is mainly, it's sort of this colour here. So I just wanted to add a touch of that. So again, just inked up that part there in Just Jade and just about swooshed that down there, like so. Oops. There we go. So it just kind of comes in and falls in. Oh, everything's sliding around today. Okay, it's because I've cleaned my desk. So now to do this piece, we'll just leave that to dry for a second because my new ink pads are very juicy. While we're leaving that to dry, we'll do the inside, okay, of this and the inside layer of this. So for this one, I literally just stamped those in the garden green. So we need to get the leaf out again, and I inked it up just as a sort of a swoosh down the bottom, and then actually coming in like a frond of leaves dangling down at the top, which still leaves you enough room to write your greeting, etc. inside. And then for the inside of this card, we went with the same fronds that we did on the front, and that is in, but this time I put those in Pretty Peacock and the other ones in Just Jade, but I'm going to keep it the way it is just so that I don't have to re-ink everything. So for the Pretty Peacock ones on the inside, we're going to use, no, not that card, that's the finished card, Pip. You don't want to be stamping that one again. We want to be stamping this one again. There we go. So it's this eucalyptus piece, basically. Where is it? Here we go. At least I think it's eucalyptus. I'm sure that my floristry friend will tell me if I'm wrong, but I'm sure it's eucalyptus. So this time we're going to do the eucalyptus in Pretty Peacock and really be quite bold with that, and then you can add another one sort of down here-ish like that. And then in the Just Jade, we're going to do the swooshy one sort of over here-ish, like so, and then across here, like so. So it kind of goes over, but not quite. And then I might just put a little bit more down here, like so, just so it's got a little bit of extra down there where the leaves come together. So that's your inside, and then obviously you can just stamp that with whatever. If you wanted to put a sentiment inside, you can, or you can just leave it blank and complete it later. So whilst that one just dries off a smidge, we'll do this inner for this one. Probably don't need as much as that, Pip, but there we go. Let's just pop this in. Make sure I got it the right way around. Although it doesn't really matter, it would look good either way around, to be honest. There we go. Nice. So that's that one. And then on this one, we're just putting the sentiment on top. And for this, I did a different kind of swirly bit with the gold trim. For this, I did a circle and then attached it in one corner. So to do this, you wrap around 1, 2, and then leave a dangly bit, like so. Okay, and then just slightly pull one so they're slightly different size. then what I decided is where I wanted that to be positioned. So I want it to be positioned about there, but I need to make sure I've got enough room, like it's big enough. So pull back down on this one, pull back in on this one. Make sure it's big enough so that when that goes on, it'll still show underneath. Okay, does that make sense? You want it to be underneath but still showing, like so. So now you know roughly where it's got to be. You get a glue dot. She says, what have I done with them? So you get one of these glue dots and place the gold thread in the middle of it. She says, come on. There we go. Lift the glue dot, and you can use a take your pick tool if you can't do that with your fingers. Pop it down where you need it to be, and that will hold that while you then put this on top with your dimensionals. Okay, and your dimensionals, you can decide, you know, whether you want to actually go across the ribbon or not. I don't, so I'm going to put one just in the top corner here, and then the rest, so that'll hold that there, and then the rest are going to go under here. Don't stick it to your glue dot. So put the rest down here. Get a stray one, and yes, that might make it a little bit soggy, but it will stop it getting caught up in the twine, and will allow that twine to move, which sometimes you want it to do. You know, you want it to be fluid, so that you actually get some shape going with it, so that when it arrives, you know, look, you can see it will move, and that's nice. It gives movement to your card. And then if this is a bit long, you can chop it, or you can just untwist it, because it'll untwist anyway, and then it looks nice and frondy. So there you go, that's the first 2 cards done. Can't believe I did 4 of these for us to do. And we've already done 20 minutes, I'm sorry. Okay, so those are the 2 with some gold on them there, like that. The next 2, again the same layout, and again we're using the beautiful Tasteful labels. Well, one of them's the same layout and one of them's completely different. So, so this one's a little bit more fancy, because it's got this long sentiment for a wedding or something. Beautiful greens and a bit of gold in this trim. And this one's really bold and sort of simple looking, just using the colours and some of the dyes to really make that statement, along with that lovely soft ribbon, which when you just want to touch it, it's lovely. So this one's very similar to the one we've done before, and it requires a pretty peacock base. This is actually Pear Pizzazz, which is another of the colours that works with this suite, and with the papers. So Pretty Peacock, Pear Pizzazz, and then one of the other sheets. Look at that on that side, that's lovely too. So beautiful colours, again an inner. This uses the other embossing folder, so this time I took the other embossing folder, which looks like this. So it's a repeating pattern of the leaves, just as a straightforward embossing folder with no gaps or anything. So it's a solid embossing folder all the way up, but I thought that would work just as well. I'm going to pop these down, because I've been guessing a lot, so we'll speed some of this up maybe, I don't know. But I wanted to show you all 4, because they're all so similar, and yet they're all so different and lovely in their own ways. And I thought you would like all. I didn't want to leave any of them out, really. You know, sometimes I just have to go for it. And this is one of those times. There we go. And it does show off the beautiful papers and the embossing folder and the colours, and I just love it when it all coordinates together. It's just so gorgeous. I mean, before Stampin' Up, I would have spent hours and hours working out, oh, is that the right green that I can put with that? Do I need to do something else? Oh, I don't know if that green's going to work, or I can't find a ribbon that matches. You know, literally hours spent doing that. And yet now, it's like, okay, so I'll just pick that ink up because I know that works, and I'll pick that ink up because I know that works, and then, you know, that paper will work with that, and that ribbon will work with that, and it's just so easy, you know, it's just so easy. And quite frankly, when you're crafting, you don't really want to spend all that time wondering what on earth you're going to do. So you get much more actual crafting done this way because it's all coordinated for you. You don't actually have to think that much, which is always good for me. No thinking, that's what I need. Okay, so this one, I'm again using these Tasteful labels. This one's a stitched one. See what I mean? Some are stitched and some are not. It's great, I love them. I think it's a very clever idea to do some embossed, some stitched. Okay, now let's see if I can get this straight, looking up and down. Does that look right? Breathe out. Oh, that's not bad at all, Pip. Pretty good. Okay. And then for this one, I used this leaf image here. I need another block to put this on. Is it going to fit on that one? Yes, just about. So I used this little leaf image here. It's lovely. I just love how many different leaves we've got. And this one I used garden green. So again, let's grab my little bit of paper. So it's inky on both sides, but forgive this. And then inking it up on my garden green. I started actually in the middle down here and just started working my way around, putting some more on this side, a little bit here on this edge, and then just a smidgy just here. I didn't want to go over the writing at all. I just wanted it to be in the background but there. And I think that's a lovely way of getting rid of white space that might be on a label, and really tying it into the card behind, like so. And then again we're going to use the twine, but we're also going to use, or gold trim, we're also going to use this beautiful ribbon. Now this is vanilla, okay, and I know some people have a bit of an issue with vanilla and white, but it's so lovely. I don't mind, you know. Normally I would say, oh, vanilla and white, but actually these days it seems to go quite well together. It seems very much on trend that you put those together. So we're going to go with the trend, and it's so soft. I just want to use it really. So it's a good excuse. So again, you'd use your seal or seal plus, whichever you prefer, and then pop this down behind. So this way, if you do it like that with 2 strips of the glue, you can generally catch both parts of the ribbon. Do you see what I mean? So in this case we need our dimensionals again. Now we've got a lot of ribbon here, so I'm just putting it where it overlays. I'm not trying to go in the centre because that will make it bobble up and have like a ridge going down the centre of your card, and you don't want that. So I'll pop this on. If you feel like this is ever going to move, it's not going to move now because it's got dimensionals on it, but if you ever did, you can always attach a piece of tear and tape over the top of it on the back. That'll hold it. And then position this so it hangs just over, but is even and straight. Yeah, that'll do. Right, so that's like that, and then yeah, I might do a scattering of these actually. I just think maybe not the twine, or maybe we'll add the twine in a minute as well, who knows. But we're going to go for a small one up there, and then these slightly larger ones, I quite like the idea of putting them down on here, over here. Yeah, I think that's nice. Just a couple of goldy bits. That makes it slightly different. And then on the inside of this one, again, I just stamped the 2 leaves, so that's pretty easy to do. And then I just pop this one down here. And I don't know why I always go on that corner and that corner. I'm sure you could do it on the other corners as well, but I always do it on those corners. I really don't know why that is. Maybe because I'm right-handed or something, I don't know. I'm sure there's a reason. I think it's even if you turn it around, it's still going to be on those corners, but there you are. That's just me. You could do it on any corner you like. There we go. So that's that one. And then, last but not least, let's do this one. Okay, so this one is different. It doesn't have the banner down the side and it is a completely separate layout, but actually if you think about it, here's your banner and I've just turned it round and turned it into ribbon, so actually it is the same layout as this, it's just turned that way. And obviously I've shortened the sentiment, made that smaller and positioned it in the same direction, so it's almost as if it was going upwards that way. But that's sort of how I work. I always like a layout and then I kind of change it up a little bit. This one's probably the simplest of all of them. This is again one of the dies from the Tasteful labels, and then Hello is from the Forever Fern stamp set, and this time I'm using shaded spruce. Oh, I can't see what I'm doing. I'm gonna just go for it and hope. Oh, look at that, that's not bad. Obviously you could stamp it before you put it down, before you cut it out. I'm just doing this for speed. So there's my Hello, and then this is another of the shapes from that Tasteful labels, and I've just chopped that off in the shaded spruce cardstock. Now we're going to be using this side of the papers. It's beautiful on both sides, so look at that. Actually, maybe I should do it on that side. Actually, would that look? Actually, that probably would work. It's a bit jade, but I think it would work actually like that. Decisions now. Do I do it this way round? Actually, that is quite pretty. That is quite pretty. Doesn't that work well? That does work well. Let's do it this way. So let's just change the design on the fly. Why not? And that's the beauty of coordinating products. You can just change things on the fly and it all still works. So now we're going to have almost a tone on tone look with this. This isn't vanilla actually that's stamped on here. This is actually soft sea foam. So that's the colour that's on there. And then we will do this like so. Do we actually have a stamp that matches this pattern? Is it one of these flower frondy things? I'll have to have a look and see. There we go. Pop that down there. Oh no, stop. I got so carried away with that I forgot I had to wrap my ribbon round. Yikes. Okay, so we're going to try and do this just with the glue, which is not normally my best option, I have to say. I prefer tying it with snail first, but you can do it. Let's just chop that off. Okay, what I will do is I'll make sure that we add a bit of extra glue on top of that to sort of hold that down a bit. There we go. And then bring that back in again. Let's try that again. Whew, we saved it. Just at the last minute saved it. Look at that. Right, okay, is it straight now? That's the other question. Yeah, it's not bad. Good, okay, so that's that. And then this will still work because we've got the shaded spruce base, and the Hello will still work, so that's good. But now we need to work out the inside, because inside here, of course, I've stamped this floral image, just like that. So now we need to work out, have I got one of those? I don't know that I have. Looking at these, I suppose this one is kind of this most similar one, or maybe this one, but neither of them are exactly right. I might just use that little one again, just go for it, but do it in jade, just so that we pull that jade through to the inside. Or soft sea foam, you could do it to match that as well, the soft sea foam, but if we use the jade, I think that'll... Oh, we could also use the jade on the top there. In fact, I think I did use the jade on the top there and I completely forgot about that. So let's get a mat under here. And actually, shall I do it the other side just to be different? Let's do it the other side and see how that looks. Doesn't look too bad. Still feels a bit weird, but okay. And then if you want to do a stamp off, make sure you do the whole... That's it. Because sometimes you go off the edge and then you have a line down your stamping, so it's always best to, if you want to do a stamp off image of something you've already stamped, stamp it again and do it properly, rather than trying to use half of what's left on the stamp, because it just doesn't work. Okay, I think I'm going to stamp the Hello in just jade again, and we'll see. Clean that off. There we go. I'll try and get that straight on there, and then I'll give that a go there. pressed a bit too hard on the O, but it's just jade. It's looking all right. I don't know. I think it would look good with either of them. You could choose either of them. That's the answer. So, because, why? Because it's all coordinated, and that's what we love. So if you like any of these things, then you can purchase them through my shop if you're in the UK or in the countries that make up the Stampin' Up European region. Generally, my customers come from the UK, but that's not to say that you have to be in the UK to be my customer. And if you really like everything on here, then you want to be joining my team, because during June, actually, we've got two lovely offers actually. If you spend 200, you get an extra, in my shop, you get an extra £20 to spend for free on that order, which is great. But if you join my team, you also get the chance to join my team, choose £130 worth of product and an extra free bundle, any bundle you like, but only pay £99. So the starter kit is always great value. We love discount shoppers and business people in my team. I have a strong group of both, and everybody's treated the same. So if you want to do that, that's also a great offer, and all the links are shown below. So you just need to click on the little arrow below and go to the description, more details sort of section on YouTube, and you will see all of that. If you're on my blog, then you'll be able to read it all below anyway. But it's a great deal, but it's only during June. So both the sales, the shopping offer and the joining offer is only in June. And if you're worried about anything, you know, oh, I don't want to join because I'm worried what I'll have to do, you know, just get in touch. All my details are there. You can email me or call me or whatever, or you can have a chat. There's nothing scary about joining Stampin' Up. It is the best thing I ever did. And 9 years on next month it'll be. And it was definitely one of the best things I've ever done. I've made so many friends around the world, and you know, all over the place. We have a great time, Stampin' Up demonstrators and customers. I love all of you. Is that straight? It's kind of straight. There we go. We'll stick that on there. It's a little bit crooked. Pip, it's a little crooked down here. Put it on, see whether we can shift it. That's the answer. There we go. That's okay. It seems a little crooked, but I'm not actually sure whether it is or not. You know when you look at something for so long you can't actually tell. There we go. No, see, that's worse the other way now. Oh, I don't know. There we go. I'm happy with that now. I'm going to leave that enough. But I am going to add on some of these little dots. I think some of these little dots might look good. So, because they'll sort of go with the soft sea foamy look, I think, as well. So we'll do some really tiny ones, I think. Pop. 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 Really tiny ones, just add a little sparkle. In fact, we might add a bit, maybe a bit more. Maybe a few bigger ones. Maybe this size. Bit bigger lower down. Stick one on there. And then another little sort of medium size one. Kind of over there. Oh, in there. Look at that. Sort of scattered. There we go. So there we go. Look at that. Look at all these fabulous cards that we've made in this video. Most of them exactly the same. Couple of tweaks here and there. So adding the gold dots here rather than the trim, and here changing the paper over. But some beautiful cards, which I can't wait to send these out and see what people think when they get them. I think they'll love them. And as I say, the Forever Greenery suite is just amazing. And if you buy the whole suite, you get all the papers, all the ribbon, all the stamps and the dies and the embossing folder all in one suite. And you also get some really cute gold hoops, which I haven't even used on here. Which I probably should have done, really, to be fair, to make it really into the Forever Fern sort of suite. But look, you've got beautiful gold hoops. Actually, that would look really stunning under there somehow, wouldn't it? Like that. Oh, I'll have to work out how to put that on. They're great. They're metal, or metalish. I think they're metal. But yeah, so you could go on here instead of the underneath, you know, like that. Oh, just beautiful. I'm going to have to come back and make a card with one of those now, because they are lovely, and I should have included them, but I didn't. I think it would look really nice there. I'm going to have to work out how to put that on. So So yes, so this is the suite. The cardstock obviously is extra, and so are the inks, but all the colours are listed so that you can decide which ones you prefer, whether you're more of a garden green or a shaded spruce or a pretty peacock or a jade. You know, we've done jade as well. So I've given you an option for all of them. And the choice is now up to you. There you go. So come back again soon. I'll be doing more with florals all this week. All this month is all about flowers, ferns, florals, anything to do with kind of living plants. So come and see some more next week. And I hope you've enjoyed the kind of layout, switch around and change, and how to use this embossing folder just as a small little token on your cards. So thanks ever so much for watching. This is Pip Todman signing out for queenpipcards.com. Thank you and goodbye.